It's Friday, October 6. In the headlines, National Solid Waste Management Authority speaks on e-waste disposal. In business news, support for women entrepreneurs increases. Regionally, Belize in good standing for visa waivers to Canada and Europe. Internationally, Biden administration to extend U.S. border wall. In sports, the Michael University College welcomes World Under-20 hurdler Alexis James. And in entertainment news, Freddie McGregor makes successful comeback to the stage. This is the Weekend News on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Jamaicans are being urged to educate themselves about how to dispose their e-waste. That is, any equipment with plugs, cords, and electronic components that are at the end of their useful life. These include mobile phones, personal computers, peripherals such as printers and keyboards, televisions, and associated cabling. Director of Operations at the National Solid Waste Management Authority, Aretha McFarlane, says there is a noticeable increase in the amount of e-waste being generated in recent times.
Currently, the consumer appetite has changed as it relates to e-waste. So technology advances, persons change out technology for new ones. So the faster we are seeing changes in the technological era, we are finding more and more e-waste being generated. And as such, what do you do with your old e-waste when you change them out? Now, persons have been throwing these in the garbage, just throwing them out frivolously. However, persons are unaware of the risks and the dangers of just disposing of e-waste improperly.
She says persons may dispose of their e-waste by taking them to the NSWMA's head office located at 61 Halfway Tree Road, Kingston, or any of its regional offices island-wide. The 4 regional offices are MPM Waste Management Limited at 332 Spanish Town Road, Kingston 11, WPM Waste Management Limited at Unit 1A LOJ Commercial Center, Montego Bay, SPM Waste Management Limited at 4A Mandeville Plaza, Manchester, and NEPM Waste Management Limited at 2 Stormont Road, New Buckfield, Ocherius, St. Anne.
And you can make contact with the various offices and deposit your e-waste accordingly. We also have a WhatsApp line that is 448-3220 that you can make contact with us. We also have the Citizens Guide online or NSWMA website that you can also access information.
The Andrew Holness administration has plans for expansion of the country's road network, with several roadways and highways set to be completed before the end of the financial year. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says these developments will reduce travel time for tourists and increase opportunities within the sector. The Tourism Minister notes the Montego Bay Bypass, which is slated for construction, would enable persons to travel directly to Negril from Montego Bay without going through Lucy, Hopewell and Sandy Bay. Mr. Bartlett also highlighted the gains from the recently opened Maypen to Williamsfield leg of the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project, as well as the soon-to-be-opened Southeastern Highway. The India High Commission in Jamaica celebrated the birth and life of the father of their nation, Mahatma Gandhi, this week by giving service to society. A free medical camp was held for residents of Woodford, St. Andrew. More than 100 individuals were served.
You know, we have doctors here. As they come in, they register, and we have nurses who check their vitals, and they are sent to the respective doctors who are sitting here. The doctors are all volunteering, and they have been doing this for the last 30 medical camps that we have in across Jamaica, and they are examining the ailments and prescribing medicines, which we are having a pharmacy in-house here, and all the medicines dispensed in within this premises itself. And these medicines are donated by our pharma companies, Indian pharma companies here, free of cost. So whoever comes in here will go back benefited, not only his or her health checked up, but also medicine supplied, which is in the range of anything between 500, the 5,000 to 11,000 Jamaican dollar.
Why did you decide to have this series of medical camp as one of your main projects?
That's a fantastic question. Actually, High Commission of India has a very limited resources, human resources, in terms of the number of people posted here. But we also leverage the advantages that we have here. And of course, while we have several professors and lecturers teaching in the universities, which we leverage time and again, but the most feasible thing that we could do was to go back to the communities and use the services of the doctors who are volunteering to provide medical services in this way. And at the same time, we have the Indian pharmaceutical companies who are ready to donate medicine whenever we have this medical camp. So it is easier for us. It's a low-hanging fruit, and doctors are cooperative, they volunteer, and they would like to continue doing the service. It's a one way of giving back to the society from their side also.
General practitioner Dr. Nagendra Babu Shandulu spoke with passion about the ongoing project and what it means to be a part of it.
From the day one when we started doing this medical camp, because a lot of people are benefiting from this. How? Because we are doing the free checkups. Everything we're doing here is a free. And we are giving a free medications. When they get checkup, when they need a medication, with the support of our pharmaceutical companies, we're getting the free medications and we are dispensing them for free of cost. Maybe we can't help 100 one at the same time, but the one out of many, as you said, this one person is benefiting from this, and from that we are saving a lot.
I did glucose testing, blood pressure testing, sugar. I'm feeling so good. Don't mind if it come back again soon.
By the way, this started all in 2021 during the heavy pandemic of the COVID-19 because the movement was restricted, the number of people gathering was restricted. So when we were about to celebrate our National Day on 26th of January 2021, the limit was just 50 people. So we say we cannot have our reception for 50 people, but something else can be done. We did not want to go our National Day uncelebrated. And so we reached out to our medical doctors, and 40 doctors registered to volunteer to this medical camp. The next step was we can give consultation service to the patients or the people, but we don't want them to go back without having medicine in their hands. So we reached out to our pharmaceutical companies, and they happily donated a truckload of medicines. Since then, we have not looked back.
In the business report, we'll hear about SheTrade's Caribbean Hub and another executive's resignation from NCB. Danita Rodney has the details.
Welcome to the Extended Business Report. I'm Danita Rodney. In this week's report, the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, in partnership with the International Trade Center, ITC, last week launched the SheTrade's Caribbean Hub at an inaugural regional symposium event held at its Barbados head office. Speaking during the launching ceremony, Executive Director at the International Trade Center, Pamela Cook-Hamilton, said she's excited to see the CDB prioritize women entrepreneurs.
This is why I'm excited that the Caribbean Development Bank has really prioritized women entrepreneurs. They're a longtime partner of ours, and we've had the benefit of seeing firsthand CDB's positive influence in the region, their foresight, the vision, and more recently, the embrace of trade.
She revealed that part of the ITC's plan is to improve the livelihood of women-led businesses through trade.
Our own strategic plan highlights how trade can contribute to building inclusive and sustainable economies, and like the bank, we've raised our ambition for women-led businesses, including launching our Gender Moonshot, which aims to help improve livelihoods through trade.
Mrs. Cook-Hamilton also said that the hub is a central part of pushing and achieving the region's Sustainable Development Goals agenda.
And I think this entire process is going to be part of pushing that and ensuring that we are able to move ahead and get things done. And that's why I'm optimistic, because I believe that the She Trades Hub is a central part of that. And we need to use this as one of the mechanisms to drive the SDG agenda and hopefully get much further than we did up to this point.
In other business news, another senior manager has stepped down from the NCB Financial Group. Houghton Cummins, Senior Vice President in charge of the Group Human Resource and Facilities Division, left office effective Tuesday, with Dr. Hoplin Hines replacing him. On Wednesday, the financial group published a notice citing personal reasons for his departure. The news is the latest in a string of departures from the NCB Financial Group over the last few months. Now for your market updates. In foreign exchange trading for Thursday, October 5, the US dollar sold for an average of $155.79. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $119.94. The pound sterling traded for $189.43, and the euro sold for $166.97. In GSE trading, the GSE index declined by over 4,681 points. The junior market index advanced by over 43 points. The combined market index declined by over 3,987 points, and the All Jamaican Composite Index declined by over 4,288 points. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 107 stocks, of which 38 advanced, 48 declined, and 21 traded firm. Stocks advanced for Access Financial Services Limited, Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited, and Cateris Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Viable Preference, and the AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited. Trading firm were Cargo Handlers Limited, Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited, and Dollar Financial Services Limited. The overall volume leaders were Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited and One Grade Studio Company Limited with over 3 million units, alongside Jamaican Teas Limited with over 1 million units. In regional stocks, in Trinidad and Tobago, Calypso Macro Index Fund posted a volume of 4,000 shares. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, Goddard Enterprises Limited was the volume leader with 2,800 shares. They were followed by Insurance Corporation of Barbados Limited and First Caribbean International Bank, which traded 1,651 and 1,443 shares respectively. In regional business, the Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago welcomes the commitment by Finance Minister Combe Imbert to consult on options to address the challenges being faced by the business community and the wider public in purchasing foreign currency.
But in a statement earlier today said it encourages ongoing dialogue among the government and stakeholders to find long-term solutions. It notes that it looks forward to receiving clarifications pertaining to the proposed extension of the 2 foreign exchange facilities at the Exim Bank and an increase in the ceiling of the US dollar foreign exchange facility presented in the budget, but adds that it is also heartened that the minister is giving consideration to BAT's recommendation on the forex challenges.
In market data for oil prices were stable but on course for a week-on-week loss as demand fears due to macroeconomic headwinds were compounded by another partial lifting of Russia's fuel export ban. Brent futures were down 11 cents at $83.96, while West Texas Intermediate crude futures were down 13 cents at $82.18. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney. Back to you, Simone.
Thanks, Danita. In regional news, Belize's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade and Immigration has been actively seeking the removal of visa restrictions to travel to Canada and Europe. These visa waivers will allow for ease of travel to these countries. On Thursday, when the media caught up with Foreign Minister Eamon Courtenay, he said that it is a process that is taking some time, but it's promising.
We are working the diplomatic channels to try to reach a position where the Commission, the European Commission on Home, takes a decision that they will open a new list of countries that they will review for Schengen visa waivers. Our hope is that whenever that decision is taken, Belize is on the list. So we are speaking to the European Commission itself, we are speaking to governments bilaterally to try to say to them, this is Belize's case, we satisfy the requirements, encourage the Commission to take the decision, and hopefully put Belize on the list. When is that going to happen? Our ambassador had a meeting this week with representatives from the Commission, and they updated her to say that no decision has yet been taken as to when it is going to happen. They again acknowledge that we have a very strong case, but they were just exchanging notes and giving us some more information about where things are so that we can try to continue to have the process move forward. I want to say to Belizeans, this is taking longer than we want, but we have to respect the process that is the European Union process. And so, as I said, I think the case looks good. It's just a matter of time. With respect to Canada, Prime Minister is leading a delegation to Canada for the summit with CARICOM and Canada at the invitation of Prime Minister Trudeau. That takes place, I believe, on the 18th and 19th of this month. And it's a very important summit from Belize's perspective. The first issue that we want to raise bilaterally, not at the summit, is the question of migration, the question of visas. I have received several complaints from Belizeans who find it extremely difficult and frustrating to get a visa to go to Canada. I've had very good discussions with the ambassador, the High Commissioner to Belize from Canada on this issue. So it's certainly on their radar, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to speak to some other of their officials, if not the minister, when we go to Canada to say we need Canada to expedite Belizeans who want to go to Canada. There is no reason why Belizeans are put through the hoops that they have to go through, the time.
10 major British companies are now in the Bahamas this week on the first trade mission in decades. The mission comes after Prime Minister Philip Davis spoke at the British House of Lords in May and extended an invitation to British businesses. Our news, Marlene Leonard reports.
The Bahamas is seeing its first British trade mission in over 20 years this week, and over $1 billion of deals are on the table. Here's British High Commissioner Thomas Hartley describing the range of industries covered on this mission.
Everything from infrastructure to transport to water and sewage to energy and solar. There's some very high reputation British companies here want to invest into the Bahamas and want to be part of bringing Britain and the Bahamas closer together.
It was the Caribbean Council that invited Prime Minister Davis to speak at the House of Lords event in May. Managing Director of the Caribbean Council, Chris Bennett, says there are a number of things that attracted British companies to the Bahamas.
It's English speaking, it has the same common law that we have. There were an awful lot of commonalities. And one of the other ingredients is the new trade agreement that's been signed between the CARIFORUM and the UK, which provides two-way reductions in tariffs, which also means that it's cheaper and better for Bahamians to buy UK products.
And Hartley says lower costs for Bahamians and interest in more long-term investment from British businesses make this timing an ideal match.
Really understand that the Bahamas' proximity to the US makes people feel like the US is going to be cheaper. It's just not true. The Bahamas has a trade agreement with the UK, which means lots of tariffs for buying from the UK have gone. There's 0% tariffs on lots of things, but there's still tariffs on the US, so it's actually cheaper here. And the way that shipping works, it doesn't matter whether you're bringing a shipping container from the UK or Japan or from Miami, they're normally about the same price. That they invest ethically, they hire locally, they want to be sustainable. And companies have already, who are already signing up, already investing in things like scholarships. And they're not just to invest and make profit and go. They're here for the long run, and they're here for a positive relationship.
In international news, United States President Joe Biden has approved the construction of a new section of border wall in southern Texas. The announcement came during a visit by the most senior U.S. diplomat and other government officials to Mexico City for security talks. Al Jazeera's John Holman reports.
With a new influx of migrants heading to the United States southern border every day, Washington is going back to an old strategy. Planning to build a new section of border wall, although it's only 32 kilometres long, in one part of southern Texas. President Biden tried to distance himself from the measure, telling reporters that Congress wouldn't let him spend the money any other way.
Well, the border wall, the money was appropriated for the border wall. I tried to get them to reappropriate, to redirect that money. They didn't, they wouldn't. And in the meantime, there's nothing under the law other than they have to use the money for what it was appropriated. I can't stop that.
Do you believe the border wall works?
No.
But the news broke just as high-level talks between the two governments began, leaving the Mexican president visibly unimpressed.
This authorization for the construction of the wall is a step backwards because it doesn't solve the problem. Doesn't solve the problem. The causes must be addressed.
Those causes are many. Economic meltdown in Venezuela, hunger and gang violence in Haiti, authoritarian governments in Cuba and Nicaragua, to name just a few. Not just the US Secretary of State, but the Attorney General and Secretary of Homeland Security were in Mexico for the talks. It wasn't just migration on the agenda. They took place in Mexico's National Palace just behind us. The United States wanted to talk about fentanyl, the synthetic drug that's now one of the leading causes of death in Americans from 18 to 49 years old. They want Mexican authorities to do more to stop criminals bringing it in here, cooking it up, and then smuggling it stateside. The Mexican government, on the other hand, wants the United States to do more to prevent weapons coming from the United States into Mexico and contributing to this country's sky-high homicide rate. But it was the border that dominated the news conference that wrapped up the visit.
Strict consequences for those who do not use those lawful means to enter our country. Those consequences include swift repatriation, the swift return of migrants, and a ban on their re-entry. Just today, the United States announced its agreement with the country of Venezuela to repatriate Venezuelan nationals who do not take advantage of the lawful pathways and instead arrive irregularly at our southern border and do not qualify for relief.
By Thursday night, the visit had ended, but the long-running issues between the two countries remain. John Holman, Al Jazeera, Mexico City.
In sports, reigning world under-20 sprint hurdles silver medalist Alexis James will be attending the Jamaica University College while embarking on her journey toward professional sprinting. James, the former Petersfield High School standout, was officially welcomed at the University College on Wednesday. James will be guided still by her high school coach, Michael Woolry, while at the Michael and Racers Track Club. The West Indies women lost 10 wickets for just 47 runs against Australia in their third and deciding T20 International in Brisbane on Thursday to lose the series 2-1. TTT Live gives us the details.
The toss went the way of the West Indies and they opted to bowl first and got success in the second over of the day when they got rid of the dangerous Beth Mooney for 3. Despite some hiccups, Australia got to a competitive score by putting up 190 for 9 in their 20 overs. Talia McGrath was responsible for a huge chunk of that with her 65, with Elise Perry adding 40 and Phoebe Litchfield 36. Jamelia Connell led the Windies with the ball, taking 3 wickets for 25 runs in 3 overs. To say the chase started well for the West Indies would be an understatement. Despite Captain Matthews' battling injury, she and Shabika Gajnabi put on 97 for the first wicket before Matthews went for 79. Her knock under pressure came with 11 fours and 4 sixes. After that, it was all Australia, as Darcy Brown and Ashley Gardner took the match with some disciplined bowling to reduce the West Indies to 143 all out in 19.5 overs. Gajnabi's 16 and 26 from Aliyah Alain were the only other scores in double figures. Brown grabbing 3 wickets for 20 and Gardner 3 for 32 as Australia bounced back from a Game 2 loss to take the series 2-1. Once again, Matthews was named player of the match and was also adjudged player of the series for her 310 runs and 5 wickets. Wayne Cunningham, TDT Sport.
Time now for the entertainment news with Alicia Steele.
Get ready for a wild ride on PBCJ's E-News, where we've got all the juiciest and most thrilling entertainment news just for you. I'm Alicia, your energetic host, here to spice up your day with the latest updates. Today, we've got the scoop on TJ's chart-topping hit, Drift, Cranium's incredible journey to becoming a global sensation, and so much more. Stay tuned, because this show will leave you craving for more. Dancehall artist TJ has achieved his first entry on the Billboard R&B Hip Hop Airplay chart with his summer hit Drift, debuting at number 47 for the week of October 7th. The song joins other Jamaican hits on the charts, including Byron, Messiah Taliban, and Janelle Monáe's Lipstick Lover. Despite a public falling out with one of the producers, TJ released a new visualizer for Drift that showcases Jamaica's underground drift car competitions and bike culture. TJ, also known as Timoy Jania Jones, is preparing to release his debut EP, I Am Chippy, under the executive production of Shaggy and One Records. On his 29th birthday, TJ announced that he has purchased his own home, expressing gratitude for this milestone. In other news, dancehall artist Cranium has become a global sensation, breaking international barriers and earning numerous certifications for his chart-topping hits. Over the past decade, he has achieved 7 plaques, cementing his position as a dominant figure in the genre. His hit single, Nobody Has to Know, has achieved gold certification in the United States and 3 silver certifications in the United Kingdom. In Canada, the song has reached platinum status, along with 2 gold certifications for his other hits. Cranium's ability to transcend borders with his infectious dancehall sound and captivating melodies has resonated with fans worldwide. Freddie McGregor has defied the odds by making a successful comeback to the stage after overcoming a stroke that could have ended his career. Celebrating his 61st year as recording artist, McGregor has toured in Japan, Jamaica, and the UK. Despite his achievements, he plans to take a more relaxed approach in 2024. In an interview, McGregor shared his progress and expressed confidence in his recovery. He continues with therapy and believes that he will soon regain full health with the help of a higher power. After suffering a stroke last year while residing in his South Florida home, McGregor underwent extensive therapy and performed impromptu shows from the hospital, supported by his children and friends. His comeback began with performances alongside his son and daughter for the Mighty Crowns Far East Reggae Cruise in Japan. McGregor then performed at Reggae Sumfest in Montego Bay and went on to have a successful tour with 7 shows in the UK in August. McGregor is thrilled about the success of his new single, I Will Be Waiting, which reached number 1 on the South Florida reggae chart. His album, A Breath of Fresh Air, has also been well received. Additionally, his son and Steven's single, Look a Girl, is performing exceptionally well. McGregor is grateful for the support of his fans and the blessings he has received.
And that's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.